In this presentation, we'll be looking at challenges of disaster management planning and future collection preservation within the Hong Kong public libraries. While there is reference to preservation of the rare book stack on the HKPL website through climate control and gas fire systems, there is not a dedicated entry for the collection in its entirety. It is recommended to have a policy on preservation with an easy to comprehend disaster management plan that is accessible to all staff and stakeholders. It must be specific to each branch, mobile library, or self-service hub, considering even the smallest of library branches when creating a disaster management plan. When writing a disaster management plan with future non-biased preservation in relation to provisions of access, there are 4 key steps to consider within the scope of public libraries as recommended by the Australian Library and Information Association. These are prevention, preparation, response, and recovery. Disasters can come in all forms, from floods, fires, to data leaks. It's best to be aware that from time to time, our physical and digital collections can be at risk of being inaccessible. Being aware of preservation and disaster management as library staff, we can help find vulnerabilities within our buildings and collection infrastructure that may need improvement or immediate action for collection preservation. It is imperative to have an up-to-date disaster risk assessment completed to mitigate any issues as they arise. Note that HKPL has a good record of keeping online access to journals, ebooks, newspapers, and magazines, which could be seen as a preventative measure in having those digital items available when the physical items have gotten damaged or gone missing. Having good ICT security will be necessary in keeping these digital collection items available to all users on and off site in a safe, reliable, and secure manner. While we can make every effort to prevent as much as possible, disasters are inevitable, which is why the next step, preparation, is equally important. Within public libraries, a disaster management plan should prepare staff by outlining types of disasters. All staff will need clear training and instruction on what to do when catastrophe strikes, by understanding which key personnel to notify and what to do during an emergency. Examples of preparation are having an appointed disaster team, tasked with creating, updating, and executing the disaster management plan, available spill or cleanup kits for staff to use at short notice, clear evacuation guidelines, i.e., when not to save the collection but yourself and public library users, with a register of significant items in the collection that entail what needs to be recovered or repaired immediately, as HKPL does house rare books. When a clear policy on disaster management and complete preparation has been achieved and understood by staff, the next key step of response will be well implemented if disaster strikes. The merit of staff response will be based on staff involvement in disaster prevention and preparation, as well as the disaster's scale. Staff will be tasked with initiating the disaster management plan and notifying any key personnel. In the event of a large-scale fire or flood, emergency evacuation methods of staff and users will overrule any efforts to save the collection. One positive of being a public library is that HKPL will, in theory, have a lower number of artefacts and historical items than an archive or museum, allowing for flexibility on importance of saving each item in the collection during a disaster. The HKPL disaster plan should clearly describe to staff and stakeholders what steps it shall take in recovering from a disaster. For example, available resources to access during or after a disaster, policy on mass replacement of collection items, and provisions for access to digital items. Disaster is inherently negative to experience, although it can create opportunity to evolve the way we work with collections in public libraries. Moving more physical items over to digital collection will aid in preservation and disaster management, while also giving more space back to the community for study or leisure. Collections have gone through significant change over the years through technology innovations and user need, leading to an expectation that it will continue to be a transformative space that adapts to community requirements. While not all disasters can be prevented, having a clear understanding of preservation and preparation can aid in disaster management, with staff response being honed with correct training and comprehension of disaster mitigation, ensuring a smooth recovery period. Finally, the future of the HKPL physical and digital collection hinges on community need and technology advancements.